Good morning, everybody. Once again, we are together today to speak about the differences, possible differences between fasting and prana. But first of all, is fasting different from prana? I ask you, is fasting different than prana? We could say at the same time yes and no. We could say yes because when you fast, you do not eat. When you are nourished by prana, you don't eat conventional food. So, in a certain way, you fast. When you fast, it's a short period of time, necessary. Several weeks, 2-3 months, at the maximum, 3 months, 4 months, with a medical assistance. As an example, in this clinic in Germany, people can medically assisted fast during more than several weeks, 2-3 months, but at the maximum. When you are nourished by prana, it's also a fasting that may long years and years and decades without eating conventional food. And at the same time, it's also different. Why different? Because when you fast, you eat nothing at all. You can drink, it's better to drink. When you are pranic, in fact, you eat prana. And it's not a fast. It's not fasting to be pranic. This is one point. Second point is, what is prana? It depends if you speak about to be nourished by prana, to be pranic, or to live through the pranic consciousness. 3 levels of prana, of making the experience of prana. I personally realized the experience of prana for seven years now. It doesn't mean necessarily I do not eat at all. It doesn't mean necessarily I live through the complete, full, 100% pranic consciousness. It's a little bit more complicated than this. So, it's like in prison with all these wires. It depends if you speak about being nourished Wait for me, I arrive. Being nourished by prana. If you speak about the pranic state, which is not exactly the same, and it depends also if you speak about the pranic consciousness. This is not the same. Why do I say it's not necessarily the same between pranic state and pranic consciousness? Just because some people stopped eating for years and do not necessarily know the pranic consciousness. And some people are still eating, they are not pranic according to this approach, the pranic state, but they live through the pranic consciousness. What is pranic state? The pranic state is that you do not have to eat anymore because you are related to the quantum field and you receive prana without doing anything. In theory. It's only in theory. Why do I say this? In theory, you have nothing to do to eat prana when you are pranic, because the body takes prana from the atmosphere. But it will work much better if you cultivate the alignment and the expansion to the conscience at the level alpha. Alignment of the four states: physical, mentally, emotional, spiritual. And also this is very important to cultivate the alpha state, the synchronization of the two brains, left and right. Then I was telling you yesterday, then you synchronize yourself with the Earth and universe frequency, which is at about 13 Hertz, which is the frequency of alpha. So, how do you know you are pranic? That you do not need any more to eat? We usually speak about 3 conditions. For me, there are 6 conditions, at least. But the science doesn't study so much, very little, almost nothing, almost no study in medicine, in science, in the west part of the world, because all of this is not recognized. So probably there are much more signs that makes you pranic. Anyway, we usually speak about sleeping half less than before and increasing your level of vitality. 10 on 10 is the minimum. If you are 7 or 8 on 10, you are not pranic. 10 on 10, minimum. And it means also that the way is stable. You stabilized the way. You do not lose anymore some way. It means you're pranic. Now we can add 3 other conditions. You know, a permanent joy without reason. You are joyful, you are happy, because you are much less connected to the mental, dividing duality mental, and you are much more connected to heart, which is our real brain in reality. So if you are much more in the heart, you will be much more happier. Way stabilized, high vitality, sleeping half less, minimum, joy, ketones equal 0. What are the ketones? Ketones are, when you fast, the body needs some energy. It will take energy in the body. First, you burn sugar, after fatness, fat in the body, and after muscles, and after this is death. Sugar, fat, and muscles. It will take 3-4 months if you do not eat at all, and then after the high risk for you is to die. If you're pranic, you do not keep on burning the energy inside the body because you are related to the quantum field. It means that if you take a little sample, you urinate on this sample, you wait for 15 seconds or sometimes 30 seconds, then the result is 0. The more you fast, the more the ketones will be high. And one day, if pranic you become, ketones are 0. This is a very important difference, because sometimes people think after 21, 28 days they are pranic because they do not lose anymore some weight, and also they gained a half a kilo, 2 kilos. But in reality, sometimes this is not prana. Sometimes if they measure ketones are not 0. And also, if you look at their ankles, it's swollen, full of water. Edema. You call it edema? Edema? Edema, yeah, edema. When you have edema, when you realize pranic session of non-eating during several weeks, if you get edemas, it means not good things for you. It means you have to eat. It means your preparation of this pranic fasting hasn't not been correctly realized. It's important to look at this also. So, ketone 0, joy, sometimes it may move a little bit more, a little bit less. Way stabilized, full energy, and half sleeping at the minimum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one is the 6? Which one is the 6? What are the difference between fasting and prana state? When you do not eat, you will lose weight. When you do fast, you lose weight. When you are pranic, you stabilize weight. If you lose weight, you will be more and more tired. So, when you fast, less and less vitality. When you are pranic, the vitality is high and stable. If you lose weight, if you are more and more tired, you are going to sleep more, so more and more. Then, sleeping, you will sleep more and more until you cannot stand. You cannot stand up anymore. You always have to lay down because too weak, too tired, impossible to stand up. Gandhi, after 2-3 months of fasting, he couldn't stand alone by himself. 2 guys had to wear him like this. You know, when you are pranic, you sleep less and less. If you were sleeping before 8 hours, you will sleep less than 4 hours. I sleep personally 3, 4, 5 hours a day, a night. Why 5? Why 3? Because it may move according to your emotional level. Positive or negative emotions may influence your quality, your intensity of sleeping, of joy, of energy also. There is a pranic lady in France, she doesn't eat, and she was writing in her book that when she knows very negative emotions, according to her difficult relations with her own family. She doesn't eat, but she has to sleep at the minimum 5 hours a night to feel better. That's why I tell you alignment of the 4 states, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual levels are important to remain the pranic state. What else could I tell you? To fast is very good, but not to fast in any condition without any medical regard. Some people fast by themselves, and some of them call me. I remember one guy, he called me. He was fasting for 6-7 days, no eating, no drinking. And he was starting to feel bad. That's why he called me to get some advice. First time I asked you was to get his blood pressure level. His blood pressure, because he had a machine at home, his blood pressure was at 1612, without any medical reason before, without any special illness, without taking any medicine. He was in very good condition of health. But a blood pressure at 1612, it is potentially very dangerous. So I told him, now you stop fasting. He wanted to become pranic. He was trying to become pranic just by not eating, just by practicing fasting. I told him, now you stop immediately to fast and you have to drink, you have to eat a little bit, and you go to the hospital to check your health with doctors. It's very important because probably here an artery may explode and you realize a blood flowing. Then it's not good. And it happens sometimes for people. It's not, we have to be very serious with this, all of this. I always say that even if the spirituality field concerns everybody, interests so many people, is very good, very important, spirituality, of course. But before spirituality, health is much more important than spirituality. People die eventually. Eventually people die. This is not supposed to arrive. This is my responsibility as a nurse to tell this. Anyway, any question?
His BP is 1612?
16, the high number, high figure, 12, the lower one. 16 is not so dangerous. It's not so dangerous until you get 18, 20. But the bad figure is 12, which is not supposed to be upper 9.5 maximum. So, yes.
Sometimes I lose weight when I drink concentrated juices.
When you?
I lose weight instead of gaining weight when I drink concentrated juices.
When you only drink juices?
No, when I drink juices I lose weight. When I fast completely, my weight still.
What is juices? Juices, fruits.
Yeah, concentrated, not fruit, fresh fruit juice.
Yeah, concentrated.
Yeah, not fresh fruit juice.
Yes.
Yeah, fresh only. Fresh,
Yeah.
but without diluting.
It's okay.
Yes. Okay. It's not that it's not okay. It's just that you lose some weight. Okay. 9%, 90%, 95% of people who prepare a pranic fasting, a pranic process, lose weight necessarily, almost people, when they follow the law of the 3V. Yesterday, remember, 3V, vegetables, alive in French is vivant, and varié, variety, different kinds of vegetables and fruits. If you respect this, necessarily you're going to lose some weight. This is necessary, this is obvious. Then, if you lose too much weight, according to your height and your weight, you have to respect not to go down too fast, too much, and you have to stay in a certain balance of weight according to your height. This is called in France IMC, the body mass index. It's like this, body mass index. So if you lose too much weight, it means that your preparation is not good. It means that maybe you force with the mental that you want to access some result. It means maybe also that before to eat less and better, you have to eat more and better. And many people don't know this and don't really care about this. They want to become pranic. No.
I'm not asking that. I'm saying that when I fast, my weight stabilizes. When I drink juices, when I drink juices, the weight comes.
I understood. 3 possible reasons, and
I feel excess of gases when I drink juices. I feel a lot of bad reactions.
And certainly other reasons also as possible. Maybe your digestive system is not so good to support too much sugar from the fruits, from the fruit juice is concentrated or not, maybe. Some people do not support raw food, they have to cook food. Some people do not support fruits and vegetables also. So it depends. We have to sit down and to check very seriously to find what could be better for you. I had a former participant. This lady was preparing very good her pranic process, fruits, vegetables, raw, very organic, very few food. She was happy for 9 months before the process, and several months just before she called me, she was very stressed, very afraid because of the fruits and vegetables, this preparation. She was very perturbed in blood. The blood was very perturbed. There were quite a lot of items perturbed, disbalanced, like I don't know in English, like
basophils, neutrophils.
Not blood, blood cell, red cell, white cell, platelets, not this, but the electrolytes, this. Then she said, oh, I cannot move, I cannot come and realize the process, it's over for me, it's too late, I'm sick, doctors told me I have to get through the arm some medicine, and I told her, don't worry, take the treatment of the doctors, no problem if you cannot take any more fruits and vegetables, organic like this, just eat normally, follow the medical treatment and come. She came, she realized very easily, through 21 days of pranic fasting, and she was the only person of a 20 people group to finish as pranic. She was pranic. So, you know, just take distance with all of this, because in fact fasting, pranic process, pranic fasting is another reason to talk. Of course, information is important. The most important, this is not information. I ask you...
Sorry, I just want to be clear. So she got the medicine and then she became pranic?
Yes. She became pranic, even with the medical treatment. Because she had a certain training before. And she was also aligned. And she was expensed consciously. She was happy during the 21 days of fasting. It was easy for her. Why? Because she was used to realize the 24 hours a week a fast at home. This is a very important thing to realize. It is called hygiene of life. To fast is to increase one's own hygiene of life. Anyway, any question, it will remind me.
You're saying about like body mass index, right? So the index is different for meditators and for vegetarians and for fruitarians. So they have a different indexes.
Yeah, we do not.
I feel like my body height and weight is like different from the standard medical standard, but I'm like training athletes, I'm acrobatic, so I feel when my energy going down, even like the weight like less than like usual standards, I feel I'm okay. When I gain in the weight to the standard, I feel like very heavy and like very like an elephant. No feeling good.
We do not have all these differences between weight and height in France. We have one scale and we deal with this scale. But because of you, thank you, I remember what I wanted to tell you. That's what you just said now. The information is very important, of course, to understand how it works. But the best way to learn how it works, the pranic universe, being nourished, being pranic, living through the pranic consciousness, the best way is not all these informations. What is the best way? You also said it. I felt. To listen, respect, hear, to hear, listen and respect one's own body, intuition with the self itself is much more important than all the theory like this. Because the body never mistakes. You listen to the body, you know if you have to drink more or less, if you have to eat or not eating. If you decided that every Monday you will fast, maybe your body will tell you, no, not today, even if it's Monday, because today you have so many things to do, you have stress also, your emotions are not good, You have to listen, body. And no more need to give conferences, because the body knows everything already. But we are not used to listen to the body. We always listen the mental, and very often it provokes disadvantage, sometimes problems with the mental, with only the mental. Mental is like a tool. You take from the tool case, you take the tool, and then you put the tool in the tool case, and you put away, it's okay. That's how we should use the mental. Einstein said, we put the servant instead of the master. The servant is the mental, the master is conscience. If we put the conscience at its real place, which is to be the master, then it becomes very easy. We spoke yesterday about the conscience, how to become conscious, how to fast, how to realize the pranic process in good conditions, to respect health, to try to stay happy, to be conscious, and to know happiness is just to listen body. This lady says to practice prana exercises, Tai Chi, Qigong, meditation, doing, etc., etc. Of course, they are very important, but it depends in what state of mind you do these exercises. If you do the exercises because you want something, maybe it's not good, because you force the body to follow you. If you ask the body if the body is okay, it's good. But even like this, it's not good if you do all of these exercises followed by the body to try to become pranic. We shouldn't have to try to become pranic. I personally, as regards my own experience, which is only my experience, it's not your experience, that the more you want to become pranic, the less it works. And I can check, it speaks to some people. The more you want to become pranic, the less it works.
It's not only about pranic, it's about everything like that. As more you try to become enlightened, then you go opposite way from it.
Yes, it's the same. The more you want to know the pranic consciousness, which is the consciousness of the unity, that permits you to live the emptiness, the fullness of emptiness, the less it works. Why? Because mental will is the best way for you to disalign with oneself. And once again, for people who wasn't there present yesterday, I like very much the Tibetans. How to become pranic? How to know, to live through the pranic consciousness? First we die, then after we can live. And because we do not really live, we want, because we do not really live. We want to fill our own lives. No, we have to make our life empty, because so many masters in India, all over the world, said, I am nothing, and it's so good to be nothing. Who told this? I am nothing. And as being nothing, I am the whole universe. In France we had a mystical Christian, very powerful healer, energetic healer. His name was Master Philippe from Lyon. Lyon is a big city, the third or fourth biggest city in France. He was saying this, I am nothing. I'm just a particle, a part of the divine. And in reality, we are nothing else than vibration, conscience, and love. We are nothing else than this. And being this is to be everything. That's why we shouldn't have to try to become pranic. We shouldn't have to force the body to follow us, to do this, to do this, to do this, etc. And you know, now you understand that everything is said. There is no more thing to say. I can explain eventually, according to your desires, but everything is said. The silence is our own master. Remember the 3 secrets to live pranic consciousness, to know the unity, to become pranic, to realize in the best possible conditions fasting. 3 secrets are verticality, immobility, silence. Like trees, just become trees. Even if we have so many things to do from the morning to the evening, even if we have so very few things to do, even if we have nothing to do, because on holidays, practice these 3 secrets. Silence of the mental, just to hear, to listen, the here and now inside ourselves relates us to the quantum field for the scientists, relates us to the ocean of life for the Buddhists, relates us to the divine for people who believe to God. So just hearing silence, one day or another, we become silence. From hearing silence, we become silence. And there is nothing else than silence. Through silence, you go from being present to abandon oneself to the presence. The presence is the divine. I'm sure Prahlad in his cave has a few things. Silence, immobility, not staying like this and becoming a vegetable, no. Immobility means immobility of mental. This is the meditation state. And the immobility of mental helps us to appreciate and to love, to ask more and more silence. Because silence is the first food of the conscience. The first food of the mental is blah, 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 blah. Noise everywhere. Noise, busy, fast. This is mental. Silence, immobility, verticality. Why verticality? I told you yesterday also. Verticality means to be related to sky, energies from the sky, and related to the earth, energies from the earth. Because we are also an antenna. Energetically speaking, we are also a sky and earth antenna. Energies, prana, has to circulate free. We receive from the sky, we transmit to earth. We receive from the earth, we transmit to the sky. For this, what do we need? We need to relax, to be present and to be happy. Whatever you do or not, fasting or not, pranic process or not, eating or not, working or not, to be relaxed, to be happy. And the third one is relaxed, happy, and what is the third one I said? You weren't listening. Are you sleeping?
He became silent.
Silence of the mind.
Yes, silence of the mind, silence of quiet mental activities, serenity of the emotions, peaceful emotions, so you align oneself from the head that is thinking to the body which is feeling. This is the unity and the equilibrium between thinking and feeling. We cannot be all the time thinking. We cannot be all the time feeling. It's a balance between the two. This is very important. Silence, immobility, verticality. So, during a conference in France, a lady asked me a very difficult question, It was so evident for me that, because her question was, if we only fast, can we become pranic? I told her, no, never. You cannot become pranic if you just fast. It was so evident for me. But in fact, her question was very difficult because I had to meditate on this question even after the conference, and I realized that she was right. It depends. Some people become pranic without doing anything, without a pranic process, without fasting. Some people, you also have slowly, more and more babies at their birth, they are already pranic and they do not eat. You know Akai Kamila, they made a 21 days pranic process several years ago, and since they have 2 children and they are pranic. To be pranic doesn't mean you do not eat anymore. You never eat until you die. No, this is not pranic. Pranic is to reconnect with the freedom to eat or not to eat. But because you are pranic, if you do not eat, you do not lose weight. You keep your vitality very high, stabilized. You sleep very little. And if you eat, because you are already fed by the quantum field, by the universe, by life, by the divine, by joy, by presence, consciousness, you are already fed, already full. It means that when you are pranic, as soon as you're going to eat just a little thing, half of a tomato, as an example, you will be full. No more. Well, 1 tomato, if you want. 3 leaves of salad, maybe, but no more after it's full. And if you eat more, diarrhea. Oh, that's not good. The body doesn't want the conventional food anymore.
How about the digestive enzymes? Will they be same or will they be less functional?
Can you repeat?
The digestive enzymes which once used to work normally, will they become less efficient or totally abstain from secretion? Getting secreted.
I don't understand.
The,
Excuse me, I don't understand.
the digestive enzymes.
Yes.
Which the pancreas, liver and produce. Will they totally abstain from secretion or?
No, they still work. less, they work less, of course, because there is no more digestion. You produce no more, I don't know how you say, les cells. Comment tu dis les cells? Cells. But the intestine system, the digestive system, will keep on working because it is very important for the immunity. The immunity still works, the digestive system still works for the immunity to create anticorps, antigènes, the immunity. The spleen will keep on working to create red cells, not red cells, white cells. The liver will keep on working to filter the blood. If you drink, as an example, you will pee, otherwise you don't pee. Like Pralajani, he doesn't drink, he doesn't pee, etc., etc. What else?
What about the gut microbes?
What about the
Gut microbes.
gut microbes? Gut in the intestines. This is a very good question because it's a very important point. That's why we always have to respect the body and not to go faster than he can go. So we let him adaptate to what we are doing. The microbes of the intestines are still present even in the body of a pranic person. Scientists say that we have 10 times more microbes than cells. If we have 70 milliards of cells, we have 700 milliards of microbes. There are much more here microbes than cells. This is the magic of life. And these microbes are good for us, they are not dangerous for us. It's also a question of balance, equilibrium. So, there is this same lady, Pranic lady in France. Sometimes she has to sleep 5 hours when she is emotionally perturbed, even if she's pranic. She is followed by a doctor. This doctor realized, maybe Dr. Sudhir Shah this afternoon will confirm, I don't know. This doctor in France studied the intestines, the cells of the cells. No, not the cells because she doesn't eat. He studied her, and her organism showed that the microbes, the bacteria in the intestines, in fact, they realize the photosynthesis. They eat biophotons, which are prana, particles. They eat biophotons, and they create protein, flesh. And that's why the pranic don't lose weight anymore, because of the bacteria working to create photosynthesis. This is wonderful how it works. The body doesn't need us to function correctly. How much time left, please? Half an hour. Thank you.
So the gut microbes will relearn to draw energy through photosynthesis, human photosynthesis.
The gut microbes?
They relearn to draw energy through human photosynthesis.
Probably.
And do we have microbes in other organs as well? Are they different from the gut microbes?
From a pranic to a non-pranic person?
No. The same in our same body, do we have microbes in other organs as well which are capable of photosynthesis, or only is the gut microbe capable of this?
In fact, we know almost nothing about prana today. We know almost nothing, scientifically speaking. You must know that prana is studied in secret for a couple of years by NASA, the NASA, and the army. In secret, they study prana. Like they used to study astral travel during the Cold War between Russia and America. They were studying and practicing astral travel for spying, to spy. But scientifically, we don't know so much about prana. So to your second question, I cannot answer correctly. I told you yesterday, in 2012 in Brazil, in Brasilia City, the University of Medicine realized this study and confirmed that to live 20 minutes pranic meditation per day is very good for the health, because it reinforces the immunity, a high level of health. This is one study. I wish we could have Nassim Haramein present here to explain a little bit more about this. I'm sure he must know a little bit about prana and scientific studies, officially speaking. He used to be 3 years, Nassim Haramein. He used to be totally pranic during 3 years. Prana, not in theory, but also through his own experience. What else? Just to make your own experience. Just to live presently. To hear, respect, listen the body. And the less we are in the mind, the mental activity, just at the minimum for necessary operations of every day, and the more we remain at listening the body, the better will be. May I propose you a very little pranic meditation? That will be my final word for today. So, if you want to be well seated in the armchair, maybe behind, against the chair, maybe in front, as you prefer. The 2 feet touching the ground for the roots. If you want, you close the eyes. Just take a little time to be conscious of this position, to be sitting on a chair, the spine straight and relax at the same time, like the whole body. The jaws relax, the front relax, the 2 eyes taking rest in the holes. Check that you can breathe correctly through the left and the right nostril. Not nostril, nose. Left nose, right nose. Just relax the shoulders, the arms, the hands, listening the body. Listening, breathing, breathe out, without doing some special things. Connected to the earth through the roots, through the feet, beneath the feet, and then you put gently the tongue behind the mouth against the palate, not the front palate but the back, soft back palate. You put the tongue against the back, soft palate, and softly, gently, slowly opening, a little opening the mouth. And then you breathe in conscious. Because you relax from head to the body, because you align yourself of just being here present, no more to the past, no more to the future, just to the present. You align yourself and expand the conscience above the state of the mental. Then with the tongue against the back soft palate, we breathe in and breathe out, and we will put the conscience at the third eye. Don't try to do anything, don't try to reach anything, don't try to try anything. There is nothing to try, just to be. Let the things be by themselves. And then we connect to the sky of the universe above. Then through the breathing we receive particles of prana, we receive photons, we receive light, and through the pineal gland, through the third eye, through the breathe out, we send all this energy, light, prana, love to the cells, to the whole body, until the roots be under the earth, deep in the earth. Then you realize that you start to create saliva, which is called soma prana, body prana. This is a thicker saliva, which is the saliva of prana. And that's how Pralajani managed to survive for decades without eating, because of this pranic saliva that we create with Kechari Mudra, which is this practice, Kechari Mudra. This is a very good way to align, to expand, to hear, listen, and to feed oneself with life, with presence, with silence, with nothing and everything at the same time. Thank you very much.